many people in this country still believing that this is not the answer, and they can't believe that this is the hill that many people think that Rishi Sunak has chosen to die on, with the greatest of respect.
Yes, this was introduced by Boris Johnson and Priti Patel, if you even remember their names. So
yes,
much has
I
happened
do.
since then. I feel like we've had multiple new Conservative leaders and multiple, well, not multiple Home Secretaries. We've had 2 Home Secretaries since that. So lots of people will have been hearing about this scheme for a very long time now. It's certainly not the end of it either. Obviously, it's got this vote again in January when it returns to the Commons. And even so, it will still have 3 more stages in the House of Commons before it passes to the House of Lords. It goes through all the processes there and then gets sent back to the Commons. So this is definitely not the end of it either.
So, Claire, what can James Cleverly expect in the House of Lords today?
I think he's going to get questioned quite heavily on why the government assumes Rwanda to be a safe place. It's all very well to put some legislation down saying that it is, but where is the evidence?
Just because we say it is doesn't mean it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the moon is green, if you like, and put it in legislation. Doesn't make it so. And I think they are going to question quite heavily as to what the evidence is, how they've got it, and what they're going to do to ensure that that is enforced going forward. It's all very nice to have a treaty, but if you can't ensure Rwanda are going to abide by it, then what is the point of the whole policy in its entirety?
My problem with it, Claire, is, and I don't know what Sarah thinks, we're talking about a few hundred people. I go back to this every single week to the point where I'm boring myself. There's 170,000 people waiting to be processed. He's chosen this policy which, whether it works or not, I don't even know what works means now. It's become a sort of an ego trip. Why are we not? You worked in the Home Office. Nobody ever answers this question to me. Why is not a politician having the gumption to stand up in front of the British people who are fed up with the immigration situation and say, I'm going to do my best to change the Home Office and make it fit for purpose and come up with a processing system that gets rid of the backlog? That's what I don't understand.
And it is very simple. You have to put more caseworkers in.
But they're spending 400 million in the end on Rwanda. Why not spend that on caseworkers or implementing new guidelines in the Home Office?
As I say, none of this is rocket science. No. It is very simple. You have a large backlog, you have cases, you need caseworkers.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we are spending so much money on something which solves maybe 200 people, if it ever gets off the ground. And let's not forget, there are no planes involved in this.
I was just going to pick, talking of rocket science, if you're going to have a policy which talks about flying people to Rwanda, you've got to have the planes. It's fairly basic, isn't it? And we've learned that they don't have the planes.
And the commercial airlines don't want to be involved, is that
commercial airlines, airports don't want to be involved. The airfield that has been identified needs a huge amount of money spending to get it up to scratch. All adding to that, I think it's Boscombe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
I have. It's closed.
But all adding to that tally of huge expenditure before a single flight has taken off.
Well, exactly. So much money has already been spent on this scheme, but so much of it is still not sorted out yet. As you say, there's logistics with the planes itself. And then we've obviously got this bill that seeks to change the Rwanda scheme as it currently is. So much of it is still really uncertain. But the trouble is the money that's already been spent, we can't really get it back. That's the issue. Lots of people in the various committees across the House of Commons were saying that we won't be able to get the money back from Rwanda that we've already spent. So they could just be walking off with a big wad of cash and nothing to show for it.
But Alicia, one of the things that people have said to me over the last few weeks, and I'd be really interested in Sarah's opinion on this, is that Sunak knows that he can't get this done. He knows that he won't get any flights off the ground, and his political approach is, I tried for you and I got thwarted by judges in Strasbourg and the Labour Party and everybody. But nobody seems in his inner circle to go, it's essentially not a very good idea. That's, you know, it's costing upwards of 400 million quid and you might shift 500 if you get a chance.
The issue is we're obviously approaching a general election. That would be pretty much any time next year, we think, and potentially January 2025, but we doubt it will be that late. Most people assume it will be within the coming months. So Rishi Sunak is in a bit of a hard situation personally and politically, because if he backtracks on this policy, his critics will say, oh, my goodness, you've wasted all this money, you've dedicated so much of your time as Prime Minister to this, and now at the very last moment you're admitting it doesn't work. If he carries on with it, though, people will just say, what is going on with this? It doesn't work, and there is no evidence that it's ever going to work.
And Claire, we've got Rishi Sunak up before the liaison committee this afternoon. How big a line of questioning, and there's a lot for them to get through.
What is the
with
liaison
him.
committee? Do we know?
Liaison committee? Well,
is
Alicia
the-
will be able to tell us. It's all the chairs of all of the parliamentary committees in one room.
It happens 3 times a year, and it's a chance for the chairs of each select committee, and every department has a committee. So that's like the Home Office, the Foreign Office, the Department of Health, for example. And the chair of each of these committees have a chance to sit with Rishi Sunak for 10 minutes in a big boardroom, if you like, and question him on questions that fall within their remit. Obviously, home affairs are going to be a big one. Rwanda, migration, foreign affairs as well. We've got 2 wars on at the moment, so all of these we can expect some pretty big grillings